Now, you know me, I'm not one to get into controversy or want to make enemies online, am I? But I did happen to stumble across this video with the title, Why the $20,000 Tesla Model 2 Will Bankrupt Tesla. I kid you not. This from fellow UK content creator Evie Nick, who I've also met once or twice at Fully Charged events, shared a stage with him on panel discussions. But I'm sorry, Nick, I'm going to have to pick this apart because I watched it and yeah, well, there's lots to say. Let's get into it.
You don't have to look long to find out Tesla have been talking about making an affordable electric car ever since they existed. In fact, the Model 3 was touted as the affordable electric car. But other people have been touting rumours, suggestions all around that Tesla could make a 20k car. And this video is going to be looking whether that is true or whether the information is a bit misleading and what the likelihood of this car ever existing is, or if it's just pure vaporware. Now, before we talk about the rumours, let's look at what Tesla have announced in the past in car spec and the timescales around that. So at the Tesla Semi event, Tesla launched the Semi, the truck, and then the truck came out quite a number of years later. The Cybertruck again was also delayed, but another vehicle that's been announced and predates all these cars was the Tesla Roadster, announced in 2017 by Elon Musk. We still haven't seen a production car. Now, that's 7 years ago at the time of filming this video, and we haven't seen any renders or any pre-production model versions of a cheap 20k Tesla. So to say that it's probably 5 to 7 years from ever being built would be a fair comment.
Apart from the fact that it's already been confirmed that it will be released next year, that's going to get in the way of a 5 to 7 year time horizon, I would imagine. Elon has already clarified that they will be making the cheaper, more affordable car already on production lines that exist today. 5 to 7 years to produce the next generation Tesla platform is just ridiculous, but I'm afraid it gets much worse.
But why make a 20k car when you can make a 100k car? That's what the Roadster is. Now, some of the Tesla fanboys will argue you can sell a lot of 20k cars, which you can, but you don't have to sell very many Roadsters, and the Roadster is a lot easier to make. It's a smaller production car. It doesn't require as much factory floor space. They'll sell pretty much to order, to instantly, because of making small numbers, small batch numbers, and you don't have to sell very many of them to make the profit margins you would in a 20k car. You have to sell a lot of 20k cars to make the same profit margin as a 100k car.
Where should we start? Well, the market for people that can afford very, very, very expensive luxury cars is absolutely minuscule in comparison to the amount of people that would be able to afford a $20,000, £20,000 car. To just consider Tesla going backwards to where they began is reversing time and becoming a baby and inserting yourself back into your mother's womb. That's how ridiculous this seems to me. Why on earth make super luxury expensive cars when you've got the Model Y today, the world's #1 best-selling car? Just imagine what a $25,000 Tesla will do for the market once that's released. Economies of scale matter. The more you produce of something, the cheaper it becomes. Tesla's relentless focus on making it as cheap as possible to build a car, to manufacture cars at scale, is exactly what's led to the Tesla Model Y becoming the world's best-selling car. It's affordable for them to make. Many more people want it. Now just imagine that with this next third generation platform, the Tesla Model 2, $25,000 car. It opens up an enormous new market of people who otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford a Tesla. It's so short-sighted, I'm afraid, to say they should just concentrate on selling an extremely rare, high-priced vehicle just because they can get slightly more profit margin. You can't sell anywhere near as many. Just consider the Model S and the X. At the moment, they are just a drop in the ocean for Tesla's profit when compared to the Model 3 and the Model Y. That'll happen all over again with the third generation platform.
Selling a 20k Tesla could actually damage the brand. Tesla has been seen as basically a halo car, almost like, not a Ferrari, but that kind of class, that kind of posh car that, someone who's successful tends to drive.
Who, me? Thanks for the compliment.
The problem was when they brought the Model 3 out, a lot of S and X snobbery really didn't like the fact that Tesla was selling a cheaper, more affordable car.
From all the experience I've had in the Tesla community, in the Tesla Owners Club UK, every fully charged event I've been to, every meetup, I have never met a Tesla Model S or an X owner that has been uncomfortable even, or angry at the fact that Tesla went on to produce a cheaper, more affordable Model 3 and Model Y. That's ridiculous. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever come across an S or an X owner who's a bit cross that the Model 3 and the Model Y exists? They all bought into Tesla's mission way before and understand that that was the mission, the very goal to drive down costs and stuff, to produce more cheaper cars. To say that the Model 3 didn't decimate sales of the Model S and the Model X, obviously, it's so important for any company that wants to position itself to be able to grow into the future, to be able to disrupt themselves exactly in the way that Tesla did when they released the Model 3 and the Y. They knew it was going to disrupt sales of S and X. But the grander goal was more important, was it not? To produce a car that would go on to become the world's best-selling car.
Now, anyone who thinks that a 50 grand car is affordable, fair enough on them. They can afford any car they want if they think 50k is cheap.
Now, Nick, I know you must know that a Tesla does not start at £50,000 in the UK. You must know it starts at under £40,000 with the Tesla Model 3, $39,990 if I remember right. To say this is a bit disingenuous, isn't it? You know it doesn't start at £50,000.
But the point is, if they sell a 20k car, it will cheapen the brand again. And whether Tesla want to be seen as selling a brand that's selling cheap cars or a brand that can sell expensive cars, it's very hard for a brand to sell a 20k car and then a 100k car at the same time, because people like to have a little bit of brand identification, a little bit of poshness about them if they are driving a 100 grand car.
Again, this just seems to be pulled out of nowhere with zero evidence. What car company do you know of that produces cheap cars and expensive cars that stops people buying the expensive ones because they offer cheap ones? That makes no sense at all. That which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
So let's actually look what Elon actually said. Now, Elon always talks in riddles, so we need to dissect exactly what he said, because it always has a little hidden meaning or a little hidden caveat when Elon says it. He's quite finessed at sort of tricking ideas and making people believe in hype that's not ready. Full self-driving may be the biggest one that he's ever done.
That old chestnut. Yeah, it turns out making autonomous cars is an extremely difficult problem to solve. Hence, it's taken a few more years than predicted. But every time they got so close to it, they had to rewrite the entire system. And now they've got massive investments into AI. It's the convergence of AI at the right time of Tesla's technology, which is allowing them to get tantalizingly close to solving autonomy. I really hate this, the dumping on the timeline of solving autonomy. One of the most difficult problems humanity has ever tried to solve with autonomous cars. And you've got people who are just that typical British negativity, the cynicism of trying to drag everything down and say, you're not going to do this, it's not in time, so it'll never happen, can't be done, it's never been done before. They said this before with SpaceX, with a small group of people trying to solve the problem of an autonomous, reusable, self-landing rocket, and the whole world was laughing in his face, right up until the point where he solved the problem. The same will be true with autonomy. The ignorant statement of suggesting that Tesla's really late with full self-driving autonomy, how dare they be late for working on something so complicated? It would be a bit like, saying to all the scientists that are trying to find cures for dementia or cancer, oh, you said you'd have one by now. Why aren't you working on it even faster, getting it done? I want it now. There are people working on seriously hard problems in the world. As YouTubers like me just sit in an office and just talk nonsense for ages, there are people in the world building things, making things, trying to produce a better future for our children. Tesla, SpaceX, Elon. When you are working on such impossible problems to solve, sometimes those things might arrive a little later than you hope.
But if you actually look, he announced on Battery Day in 2020 that he plans to make a $25,000 car, so a 20k English Great British pound car. And that could be possible in 3 years. Now, of course, that's past. We're way past that 3-year date. And people have said that the reason he scrapped that 25k car is because of competition from China, and also, the brand of Tesla being squeezed by all the extra manufacturers, especially in China, now making cars and competing.
Ever since Tesla revealed that their next generation platform was going to be built using an unboxed process, a far simpler manufacturing technique used to drive down costs for the vehicles. And also they said they were going to be building them in Giga, Mexico. That was the original plan. But a lot has changed since all then. The Inflation Reduction Act, for example, wasn't around then, where you can now get $7,500 off your Tesla in America. Where the batteries are manufactured for Tesla matters as to how much money you'll get off your vehicle now. A lot has changed. Tesla has pivoted from aiming towards producing 20 million vehicles a year by 2030 to a totally different approach of going full force towards AI, towards robots, towards autonomy. There's just no longer an immediate need for a far cheaper Tesla Model 2 because, believe it or not, they're already here. I'll get to that in a minute.
However, Elon hinted again at a 20k Model Y very recently and said it would, if they made a 20k Model Y, it would sell in the millions. Now, Elon saying he'd like a 20k Model Y is very different to him actually making one. So the fact that it could be 10, 15, 20 years from it ever hitting that price point, and whether Tesla actually include it as a lease deal or they have that famous word, including fuel savings next to it.
Yes, right alongside the actual purchase price of the car. It's not a secret, is it? Including fuel savings is a really important thing to consider when buying a new car.
Now, I know likely the Tesla fanboys are going to hate this video.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I am going to say right now that I think it's highly unlikely that Tesla will ever make a car under $35,000.
Are you going to tell him or am I? Tesla are already making cars under $35,000. Let's quickly ask Grok, how much does it cost Tesla to build a car? Based on the latest information available up to 2024, Tesla's cost to build a car, specifically focusing on models like the Model 3 and the Model Y, has been reported to be around $36,000 on average. This figure represents the cost of goods sold, COGS, directly related to the production of an electric vehicle, as mentioned in Tesla's financial reports for 2021 and echoed in various analyses through 2023. This, ladies and gentlemen, isn't even up-to-date information. This is what it cost Tesla back in 2023. And in this time, battery costs have continued to decline, so too has Tesla's manufacturing process, not to mention that good old economies of scale where you build more things and they become cheaper. This cost reflects Tesla's efficiencies in manufacturing, vertical integration, and innovations in vehicle design and battery technology. However, it's worth noting that Tesla aims to reduce this further with new models and manufacturing techniques. For instance, there's mention of a future compact car, sometimes referred to as the Model 2, or a new entry-level vehicle, potentially reducing production costs significantly, aiming for around $20,000 to $24,000 in COGS. Although these figures are speculative based on Tesla's future plans and not current production models. For the most current models like the Y and refreshed Model 3, while specific costs might vary slightly to model-specific components or recent manufacturing advancements, the $36,000 figure remains a benchmark for understanding Tesla's production economics as of the last detailed reports. Always remember, those costs can fluctuate with changes in material prices, technological advancements, or scaling of production. Exactly. The cost of these things is coming down all the time. Never going to be a $35,000 car. Here's how inexpensively you can get a new Model Y rear-wheel drive right now in the US, including federal and Tesla incentives. You might notice all of these prices are under $35,000 today. Just imagine where they might be for the next generation car. Colorado stands out to be the cheapest state in America to buy a Tesla Model Y. Here's why. Pricing details. After accounting for a $5,000 state tax credit and the $7,500 federal tax credit, the price for a new Model Y rear-wheel drive in Colorado has been noted to be as low as $25,490. And incredibly, that's still profitable for Tesla. Just compare that to Ford, who are losing $100,000 on each EV they sell, or Lucid, who are selling each of their vehicles for a loss of $400,000. I kid you not. But of course, why doesn't Tesla just make the Roadster for $100,000 instead?
It's highly unlikely that Tesla will ever make a car under $35,000 or £35,000. I just think it's highly unlikely that we'll ever see that, because I think Tesla need to go the other way with the brand. I think they actually need to strengthen the Model S, Model X and the Roadster side of the business and the Model 3, because they're losing that competition ground very quickly, and cheaper cars have a lot more competition. There's a lot more brands competing into that.
Look, the Model S and the Model X barely make a dent in Tesla's profit. They've already stopped selling right-hand drive varieties in the UK, for example, because there wasn't enough demand for them to provide that vehicle. Don't you see? The cheaper Teslas become, the more people will be able to afford them. It's as simple as that. Even if the Roadster did exist, that alongside the Cybertruck, alongside the S and the X, These are just fun toys to have. These are not making a dent in society in the way that we want to move forward, are they? They're not going to rapidly transition the world to sustainable energy with going back to just making roadsters. It's such a bizarre argument. Yes, the roadster would be nice, but it's totally unnecessary in the grand scheme of things. The future is autonomy, robo-taxis, and yes, far more affordable Teslas.
What I'd prefer to see is Tesla license batteries, license powertrains to other manufacturers. Could we see the return of the Ford Fiesta with a Tesla powertrain in? That's what I'd like to see.
Well, yes, because Legacy Auto haven't done what's necessary in order to make really good, profitable electric vehicles at scale, it would be a good idea for them to get their hardware from Tesla, wouldn't it? But whilst we know that Tesla is no longer battery restrained, it's not as if they have a plethora more to just be handing out to other companies. You know, if we're just talking about licensing hardware perhaps, or licensing software, absolutely. Oh, it's really good to, at least we can end on a high there, can't we? We can end on an agreement, can't we, Nick?
And if you want to find out why I think Tesla fanboys are ruining the network, see this video here.
Never mind. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, Patreons. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.